Joining us now to discuss is Hogan Gidley. He is former White House Deputy Press Secretary, and Paige Willey, former White House Political Affairs Advisors. Good to talk to you both. We'll talk about Twitter in a second, but Hogan, there's a really tough issue I got to talk about. When the United States is attacked or has some major foreign policy crisis, we usually come together and unite behind the commander-in-chief. That's been the history of the United States from the beginning, and it's been very helpful to the United States. Now we have a different situation. We have so many unforced errors leading up to today's awful situation where we saw the death of at least a dozen service people. Can this president get back the trust that he's going to need going forward from the American public?
It's going to be very difficult. I've said on this show before, it's not unique that an incoming president gets tested. What is unique is that Joe Biden has failed every one of those tests. My heart breaks today for the families of those service members who perished. And there are so many people out there still serving this great country because they believe, unlike the Democrats, that the flag represents a country that is a force for good and strength and mercy and democracy and hope all over the world, including your son. Now, I got to tell you, people are sad today. People are infuriated today. But more than that, this was 100% preventable. This decision was squarely because Joe Biden made the wrong decision. People have died. We have left Americans stranded over there, not to mention those who have helped our citizens through all of this. And now we're relying on the Taliban to get us out. Remember this, we're sharing now sensitive information with them, intelligence with them, in hopes they will be the ones to protect American citizens, the ones that Joe Biden he was going to try and make September 11th the cherry on top and say, we got out on the day they attacked us. Look at how great and how smart I am. Instead, we're now relying on those who facilitated the attack that killed 3,000 Americans to get our Americans out now. The whole thing is disgusting.
And now, Paige, we add 12 Americans to that list of Taliban, or at least terrorists within Taliban-controlled area that are responsible for killing these Americans. Same question, though, to you. We have the president coming out in about 15 minutes. Of course, he's been known to delay these press conferences. But what is going on inside the White House? You know how the communications department works there, as does Hogan. What are they telling the president to do, to say?
Well, gosh, I can't imagine what's in their minds right now. This is obviously a very painful and trying moment for our country, hearing the news about these 12 servicemen and women who have been killed in Afghanistan. These servicemen are willing to fight and die for their country, and Joe Biden can barely be bothered to hold a press conference. This is a really serious time for the public, where they are wondering what the president stands for and what he intends to do. He has squandered the credibility that President Trump built up by articulating very clearly and seriously that he will always defend the interests of this country, that he will always defend the people of this country. And Joe Biden, as I say, has squandered that, and people cannot depend on that anymore. And it makes foreign adversaries and foreign enemies look at our country and wonder what weaknesses they can exploit. Additionally, Joe Biden has empowered known failed bureaucrats such as Lloyd Austin, who failed to recognize that ISIS was a very severe threat during President Obama's presidency. And he empowers his staff who lie to the public. They're very cavalier about these very serious issues. They throw tantrums when the press doesn't cover them the way they feel they're entitled to. And what we're dealing with right now is a very deep and disturbing rift between what the public demands of their government, what they expect of their government, and what they're receiving from Joe Biden's administration.
Well, and Hogan, the word that Paige used that struck me is seriousness. There seems, you listened to the press conferences over the past couple of days from his people, from his so-called brain trust, and you see this lack of seriousness. I mean, they're sort of bragging about the great effort that's been made to get people out. Yes, it's been an enormous number of people. Thank God that we're able to get out of Afghanistan. But the point is, we wouldn't have come to this crisis if the strategy hadn't been wrong from the beginning.
That's the whole point. And Joe Biden has been on the wrong side of every foreign policy decision in the last 40 years, as Barack Obama's defense secretary so articulately put it. This is a serious problem for this country, and it's time for serious leadership. Joe Biden just isn't that serious leader. We've seen that time and time again. And whether it's crime, whether it's COVID, whether it's the southern border, and now Afghanistan, the reason they've squandered their opportunities is because they've lied to us every single time. We talked about Twitter at the beginning of this segment.
Right.
It was the Taliban who just said that Osama bin Laden had nothing to do with 9/11, yet they're still up on Twitter, not to mention the folks over in Iran, the Ayatollahs, the Chinese Communist Party up on Twitter, the lies they tell. Joe Biden himself said he had no idea this would happen. It was unforeseeable. And then in a subsequent interview said, yeah, we knew this. We prepared for every contingency. Why is he still up on Twitter? The American people have no confidence here, and it's of their own making, this administration, because they've lied to us too many times for us to buy it anymore.
Although I don't think the media can cover up for those lies as they've been doing since the beginning of the Biden administration. There was a New York Magazine piece that was out, disgusting New York Magazine piece out about how the media is manufacturing Biden's Afghan crisis. Articles like that, I think, after today, will not make it to press. I think it's clear. There is just too much blood on the streets of Kabul right now for that sort of thing to be taken seriously.
It's one of those things that just won't. It's one of those things that just won't age well. You write the article, and then you see these deaths, and all of a sudden you're looking around going, I'm a fool. And you absolutely are. The people who wrote that article should be ashamed as well. These are real people suffering real issues on the ground in Afghanistan, and it's our government to blame.
Okay. Paige, I'm so sorry. I wanted to give you the final word, but we ran out of time. That's quite all right. Paige and Hogan, great to see you both.
No problem.